a daily basis all the time, Bloomberg muses. It often feels like there's something in my body giving me instructions that I probably shouldn't follow. A non sequitur, perhaps, but one that works because of the shop-worn quality of tea folklore. Tea is the thread that connects overwhelming desire with what we might now call toxic masculinity. Tea runs roughshod over Bloomberg and other men, giving them instructions they ought not heed. Following Bloomberg, the episode turns to a man who chronicled changes to his ambition, interests, humor, the inflection of his voice, and even the quality of his speech when his body stopped making tea. In his article for GQ, aptly titled "The Beast in Me," he wrote that 4 months without the hormone taught me that testosterone is everything. Everything. Not just a man's motivation, but his very epistemology. Without the want it creates, he undergoes a gentle dry rot of body and mind, losing resolution until he becomes as negligible as a ghost. When he was treated with copious amounts of tea, he said, the monster took control. Glass stages the episode as a tug-of-war between rational free agency and the power of tea, asking, how much does testosterone determine? Another answer comes from a man who experienced high tea for the first time as an adult. Griffin Hansberry, a psychoanalyst in New York City specializing in gender and sexuality, strongly identified as a woman when he began college. But by sophomore year, he knew that I had to change my body, and the only way to do that was to take testosterone. Echoing both Bloomberg and the GQ writer, Hansberry says, I felt like a monster a lot of the time, and it made me understand men. And I would really berate myself for it. Hansberry describes experiencing an incredible increase in libido and change in the way that I perceived women and the way I thought about sex. Before tea, he was interested in talking to women. After tea, everything I looked at, everything I touched, turned to sex, to the point where even machinery could arouse him. I would be standing at the Xerox machine, and this big, shuddering, warm, inanimate object would just drive me crazy. Up to this point in the episode, the persona of tea that's conveyed has mostly been about sex, but it takes a turn to encompass a certain kind of male intellect. Hansberry explains that after taking tea, he became interested in science and understood physics in a way I never had before, a claim that Bloomberg worries is setting us back 100 years. It's not just intellect, but also emotion that Hansberry describes as different and more masculine after tea, pointing to his difficulty crying. I'm still very much learning how to be a man in the world. There's a lot to learn. For all he still doesn't get, he is often now called Sir, and this is a victory. When he started taking testosterone, his hope was to pass as male, to be perceived by the world as a man. There's a guilty complicity between Bloomberg, who's doing the interview, and Hansberry. Laughing, Bloomberg chides Hansberry that you've reinforced a lot of stereotypes that we've almost dispelled with. Hansberry laughs too, and acknowledges that Bloomberg is right. Their shared sentiment seems to be, like it or not, this is just what tea does. Or is it? Having showcased personal narratives until this point, Glass turns to the social psychologist James Dabbs, a renowned tea researcher and author of a best-selling book on tea, who muddies the waters. As Glass and Dabbs talk about tea's handiwork, much of their discussion echoes the Authorized Biography. Tea causes boldness, fearlessness, confidence, big muscles, and baldness. But Dabbs also seems to flatly contradict the personal stories that came before. Men, he says, think it makes them manly and heroic and virile and sexual, which is not really true. It doesn't take much testosterone to have sex, so that's sort of beside the point. Research gets you only so far with tea's story.